In the last hour, the U.S. Capitol Rotunda opened for the public to pay their final respects to former President Jimmy Carter, who died last week at the age of 100. Carter will lie in state, as is customary with all former presidents in our country, through Thursday morning. And his journey to the Rotunda began as a motorcade escorted his casket from the Carter Center in Atlanta to Dobbins Air Force Base this morning. He was then flown to Washington, D.C. Once there, a stop at the United States Navy Memorial and a funeral procession mirroring the historic walk President Carter and his family took down Pennsylvania Avenue during his inaugural parade in 1977. He was the first president ever to take the inaugural walk. Upon arriving at the Rotunda this morning, a 21-gun salute, music was played, and eulogies were given by leading members of Congress.
In the face of illness, President Jimmy Carter brought life-saving medicine. In the face of conflict, he brokered peace. In the face of discrimination, he reminded us that we are all made in the image of God.
May his life be a lesson for the ages and a beacon for the future.
Those were the first of many eulogies that are going to come in the next few days, both at the national funeral service at the National Cathedral, that's Thursday morning, and then at the private service in Carter's hometown of Plains, Georgia on Thursday afternoon. And among those eulogies will be one written by Walter Mondale, here from Minnesota, Carter's vice president. Walter wrote it before he died in 2021 for Carter. It's going to be given by his son, Ted. And today, Ian Russell got to talk to Ted Mondale about the eulogy his father wrote and about President Carter and Walter Mondale's friendship.
There are few people who knew Jimmy Carter like his vice president, Walter Mondale.
He was never excluded from any meeting I had with a foreign or domestic leader.
A Minnesotan who, along with President Carter, helped shape the vice presidency as we know it. And few people knew Walter like his son, Ted.
Very good years, and these are very good people.
A young adult in the Carter and Mondale White House, Ted had a different upbringing than many of us.
We saw a lot of great things. Went bowling at Camp David at Richard Nixon's bowling lanes.
Through all the memories, one thing is constant: the care that President Carter showed them.
The fact that he wasn't too important to talk to some 19-year-old kid with kind of long hair and really cared. I think that's the thing I take the most.
A bond forged on the campaign trail and in the White House only got stronger once the families left Washington.
They developed a deep friendship.
A bond unbroken and a bond continuing until the end.
I'm reading my father's eulogy.
Not about Walter, but from Walter to Jimmy.
I presume that Carter asked my dad to write a eulogy and to give it at his funeral. He did that in 2015.
Ted only knew about the eulogy after his father passed in 2021, now set to take up the former president's request at Carter's service this Thursday.
I think it says a lot about Carter that he developed really close relationships and wanted the president before him, who he defeated, and his vice president to be the two that would deliver the eulogies, or certainly the eulogies by their sons. He talks about
the eulogy Ted will read Thursday is still being worked on.
What a principled leader he was for human rights and civil rights. He talks about Carter being a man of his word.
Still a rough draft.
Their childhoods, that they both were from small towns and people of a lot of faith.
But still his father's words.
Carter being farsighted, that he took on climate change as a major issue.
A letter filled with respect. Ted knows it may be hard to read once he's on stage Thursday.
It really is the end of a great friendship and a great era, and it makes you sad.
But he knows he'll push through.
My job is to go there and hopefully hit one out of the park for my dad and for his friend.
It's remarkable to read the words of his father. That'll be tough too, we're certain. But despite being just a one-term president with a tenure that was marked with soaring oil prices and that hostage crisis in Iran, Carter also had the longest post-presidency of any American president. And it's that legacy as a post-president that many have been remembering him for. That's what won him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. And a big part of that humanitarian work included what he did for Habitat for Humanity. He built and rehabbed houses until he was 98 years old. When he was here in town, I saw it with my own eyes. President Carter worked on nearly 4,400 projects in 14 different countries with 100,000 different volunteers over 35 years, including that house I was just talking about in 2010. that he built here in the Twin Cities.
So many more volunteers have heard the story of him, been inspired by him, and said, if an 80, 90 plus year old president can come out and swing a hammer, so can I.
True. Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity is asking the public to come and sign a special tribute wall if they would like, or leave a note of gratitude to salute former President Carter. If you are interested in that, we have the times and the locations on our website at KARE11.com.